Hello. Welcome back to another episode of True Life with Husband and Wife. I'm husband.
I'm wife.
It's good to be back for our third episode, and just want to thank all of our sponsors out there for keeping the wheels turning here. Today, we have questions from our global audience. Some folks sent in some questions that they would like me to ask wife, and some questions for wife to ask me. So let's get started. First question comes from Jill in Perth, Australia. Jill states, "Wife and husband have been mistaken for sister and brother a few times. How does this make you feel when this occurs?"
It makes me feel very happy. I like to imagine that we were in a giant dinosaur egg together, and our parents are dinosaurs. Well, maybe our mom's a dinosaur and our dad's human. And then our mom laid us in a giant dinosaur egg. But then we got covered in tar and mud for thousands and thousands of years. And then we were thawed out. And then we hatched together. But the only part that I can't figure out is how you ended up in Milwaukee and I ended up in Idaho. But I'm pretty confident the other part's true.
It almost sounds like a biblical story. It's like a lot of theatrics, a lot of things going on. Doesn't all quite make sense.
But I know in my heart that it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that, that's a wonderful question. I've always wanted almost like a twin sister ever since the time that I was little. To be completed by the feminine form was always a strong desire of mine. Basically just to have a female version of me, or a version of me that has breasts, really, is something that I've pined after for a long time. So I'm very happy that people often mistake us for brother and sister. We're still, asking the people in our lives for a little bit more background and history to ensure that we weren't accidentally separated at birth.
But I just think we came from the giant egg.
Yeah.
You probably just missed being in the giant egg with me.
Well, we have different philosophies about this. I'm more of the pragmatist. I like to mount an investigation, do some interviewing, some forensic work, really focus on logic, reason. And you have the story of the egg.
Which I know is true, so all those things aren't necessary.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a question from Andrea in San Francisco, California. She was wondering when husband and wife fought last, who was it that won?
That's a very good question. I learned early on in our relationship that it was basically worthless for me to engage in any sort of fighting with wife, whether that be verbally or through combat. Wife is a trained assassin. Some of you might have a chuckle when I state this, but in reality it's true. She's proficient in the art of Subak Do, which is a Korean form of martial arts or art. And I fear the back fist to the temple. One back fist to the temple would basically, allow me to enjoy life for about 5 more seconds. So anytime I start to feel my blood boil, or I'm burning inside as a result of a disagreement, I have to learn to swallow my pride, because for me, it's worth it to live. And that's what I think about every time we start to engage in conflict.
It's a very simple system, actually.
Thanks, Andrea. Next question. Eden from Missoula says, "Wife, you are a natural and have a great rack.
Thank you, Eden.
How did you end up with husband? Did you lose a bet?"
That's a good question that I think about all the time. So thank you for bringing that up. There wasn't a bet involved, although my parents, as well as husband's parents, both seemed very shocked that we found someone who wanted to marry us.
That's true. My dad, in particular, I don't think ever thought that was possible for me.
Yeah, so there might have been some betting going on in that realm. However, I didn't lose a bet. I think this goes back to my strong beliefs in the dinosaur egg. Sometimes my belief tends to block any logical thought, and I am unable to make good choices for myself because I believe so strongly in the dinosaur egg theory. And so when husband was able to convince me that he was the other part of that egg, I didn't really have a choice after that.
I had a really strong argument for that when I saw that was the channel that I needed to work through in order to win wife over. I surmounted a team and came up with, a pretty convincing story in order to lock it down.
But then after we got married, then I came to find out that he doesn't actually believe in the dinosaur egg theory at all. So, in a sense, I was just duped into marriage.
And now you're trapped.
Yes.
But I do have empathy for a wife's current predicament, being married to me. I mean, she's basically now committed to a long life of marginal income, overcooked eggs.
Mm-hmm. I don't like hard yolks.
Don't like hard yolks, and I just don't know how to keep them runny. Something that I'm still working on. My timing is just off, as it is for many things. So,
thank you for that wonderful and relevant question, Eden. So I have a question from someone who is actually quite close to us. It's not just one of our many fans who we don't know. This question is from our old roommate, John, and he oftentimes heard us talking about someone when we lived together, and he never quite figured out who it was. So his question for husband is, who is Steve?
Steve, yes. Steve is my penis. Steve is my best friend. Steve goes with me wherever I go. Steve led me to wife. Wife befriended Steve.
Steve can also find water in a desert.
Steve is a lot smarter than you would think. He is my guiding light. I do my thinking with Steve, and as a result, I think things have been going pretty well. So me and Steve are sticking together.
He's kind of like MacGyver.
He's very resourceful.
Okay. Thank you, John, for your question.
Thanks, John. I do not have any further questions for you, wife. I don't know if you may have another for me.
I do have one more for you. Now, this question can be taken in many ways. It seems like it might be a dark question, but it also could be a question about motivation. This question is from William in Missoula, Montana, formerly from Bozeman. And his question is, why do you continue to live your life?
Wow. It's a very, very powerful question. And
Will is a philosopher.
he is,
He's a thinker.
he's, there's that sculpture of the guy who's like leaned over kind of like this and is in deep thought,
The thinker.
The thinker. I think Will's a thinker, and Will knows how to really speak to my soul, get down in there and bring out like the truth and beauty in what I have to say. And I think every day, when I think about why are you living, why are you here on the planet Earth, where you may or may have not come from a dinosaur egg. And I think I do it for the children. I go on for the children. I want to see them smile. The other day I was at school, at a high school where I work, and I work with these high school kids, and I want to see them be happy. And I was in the hallway, and two of them were behind me. I heard one of them fart, and I called doorknob, and I did that for the children, because I want to see them laugh, I want to see them smile, and that makes me smile.
You're a very, very compassionate man.
Thank you.
I'd also just like to mention that the person who asked that question, Will, is one of our biggest fans. He's the first one to watch each episode as it comes out, and he loves the show. So thank you, Will, for being a fan.
If you want to know why we do this, Will, it's for you.
It's for you. Yeah.
Well, that brings us again to the end of another episode of True Life with Husband and Wife. Again, we want to thank everyone for taking the time to tune in. It truly, truly means the world to us. So thank you.
Thank you.